this guy's coming along nicely, but the majority of his struggles are on the ground. His ridden work is just green horse stuff, but his groundwork, like tying in the cross ties, leading, just being able to hang out and be a horse, is a lot of nervous, anxious horse stuff that requires a lot of thought to help them with, and a lot of consistency. And so a lot of the stuff that I've been doing with him is to help him with that anxiety. So he has a hard time standing still in the cross ties, especially if I go to walk away to get tack and equipment and stuff. He starts getting really anxious and upset. So what I've started to do is to use some positive reinforcement to kind of help him feel more safe and comfortable in the cross ties without me and without other horses. And the ridden work we pretty much always do with the horses, because I want to create more draw to the cross ties, to the barn, to feeling safe alone, and a little more drive from the herd. I don't want him to feel quite as comfortable in the herd or with other horses. So he feels a little more comfortable here with me or just by himself. So we've created some positive reinforcement habits to help him, and we've also designed the routine for him to be always reinforcing feeling safe by himself. So he's a little wiggly. He's kind of like, you can see he's trying to get closer to me. He's straining at the cross ties here, just trying to suck up to me here. So I wouldn't give him a treat there. And it's very important the way that you use positive reinforcement is done. It has to be done correctly. Otherwise, it's going to be a big problem. It's going to be more hurt than help. So it's very important that when you give your horse a treat, one, you have a bridge that's a clicker, a word, whatever you want to use, but some sort of bridge before you give the treat, and that you don't give the treat until they're exactly the way that you want them to be. So my bridge is just good boy, and the sound of this Velcro on here. But if he starts to get looky like that, or he starts to come towards me, or he gets anxious about it, he's not going to get a treat. So I can't reward anxiety. I have to reward relaxation. So he's a little more relaxed here, but I want him to stand in the middle of the cross ties. And I want him to give a little bit of space to me and relief to the cross ties. Good. So I want him to be like this without the looking at me. So if he would just go back to being normal and maybe acting like a sleepy pony, I'd give him a treat. Good boy. That's a little more relaxed. And then give him a treat. Back out of his space. So he starts to feel safer around me. He starts to feel safer in the cross ties. Safer without other horses. That's all that anxiety is. It's just the separation anxiety. They just don't feel safe without other horses. So you have to start helping them feel safe around you and without other horses. Good boy. So as I go to get that treat, I can't give it to him if he's going to bite the cross ties. I can't give it to him if he starts to wiggle around or if he starts to come towards me, because that's all him getting anxious about the treat or about where he is. So I can't reward anxiety. Good boy. So you have to get really good at delaying your reward after you have created, what do they call it? Primed the treats, so the clicker or your whatever your word is. So the horse knows that they've done a good job, but then you need to be able to delay giving the treat until they're actually being patient and exactly the way that you want them to be. So that way they don't get pushy or you're creating anxiety with the food. So you can see he kind of crept forward there. I don't really want that. The other thing is that he's very mouthy and nippy, and I think that's part of his anxiety. So he gets kind of upset. When he gets upset, he starts to bite the rope or the reins of the bridle, or he'll start to nip at the person. And I've seen that in a lot of thoroughbreds. That's just kind of like their go-to to express that they are anxious and uncomfortable. And you can see him going at the cross ties right there. So what I've started to do, one, I would never ever reward him for that. So I would never give him a treat when he has taken a hold of the reins or the cross ties or is getting kind of nippy at me. The other thing is I play with his mouth. Not really play with his mouth, but I might pretend to give him a treat, but there's nothing there. So I'm just here showing him that there's no food, there's no reason to be mouthy and nippy. And I might even start to push his nose around to kind of give him something else to do. To give him a task. So that way I can reward that. Good boy. So I said good boy, which is my little bridge. And then he was actually quite good about not going anywhere or doing anything for the food. But then I delayed it so long that he got upset about it, and now he's gone after the cross tie. So you have to be really, really careful about using treats. So I could have been a little quicker to give him the treat there, so he didn't go to the cross tie. But I wanted to delay it to show you like what happens. He's holding some anxiety there, and I delayed it just long enough that it came out and he took a hold of the cross tie. That anxiety kind of got to be too much, so he got a hold of the cross tie. And you can kind of see him looking at me like he's really, really wanting some comfort right now. Good boy. And then I'm going to take that opportunity for when he looked away to give him the treat. Because I don't want him to keep he gets very clingy to people and to other horses. So I want to reward as much as possible him being just confident in himself and displaying a relaxed posture, being relaxed. So you can kind of see him starting to get closer over here. He's starting to lay on these cross ties a little bit. I'm going to back up, give him some space, and see what he does when I'm a little further away. Because again, he gets very anxious when I start to walk away. When I start to get about 30 feet away from him, he gets pretty upset. Or at least he had been. So I increase the distance from him and reward him for the behavior that I want. Only the behavior that I want. I don't want this. So here I can come in, I can put him back into the place that I want him. I need you to back, move. And he starts to get nippy. Yeah, that's anxiety. He's all stressed out about me asking him to move back to center. Good boy. So I want him to start to feel what it feels like to not be anxious. That was good. I like that he didn't come forward. He's going to come forward, and it's fine. You probably have to do this 10,000 times, and it just becomes a part of your routine. But that's going to build up over a year, 2 years, 5 years. It's just a part of your routine, and suddenly you've got a horse that's no longer anxious. Good boy. You can see him getting a little sleepy there. Good boy. And then I'm just going to wait and see if he can maintain that relaxation, even though I've gotten a treat, and he knows I've gotten a treat. And then I have to be careful that I don't delay it too long. For him, you always want to keep pushing their comfort zone just a little bit, just to kind of see like where's their line? How long can he maintain this type of relaxation? So I'm going to step over here and see if this changes him at all. So you see he got kind of upset about that, the change. And he's going to go after the cross ties. And he's moved off center. So I'm going to move him back to center. Center-ish. And then again, I might play with his muzzle just to kind of show him there's no food here, but there's also no harm. And I might play with just being able to move his head around a little bit, moving it up, down, left, right. Good boy. Till he becomes relaxed in my hands, and then letting go. And then stepping off to the side to see what he does when I'm over here. All right, he says, I'm going to go back over here because I'm uncomfortable. Don't like you over there. So I'm going to move him back. And a lot of this is just observing to see what they do and trying to help them get to the right answer. So you can see he's gotten a little nippy here. I'm just pushing his nose around till he relaxes in my hands. I want to kind of be able to put his nose wherever. Good boy. Until he stays relaxed. Good boy. And he stayed pretty relaxed, so I'm gonna give him a treat there. And it's just observing his body language. So he thought about going after the cross tie, but then he kind of relaxed a bit there. Good boy. You can reward that. But I'm always working on delaying the treat until he's shown that he can stay relaxed about it. Good boy. And then of course you can go to brushing them and seeing what they do when you're brushing. A lot of working with horses is just observing their behavior and what changes their behavior, positively or negatively. Because that's how you kind of figure out what's on their mind, what they actually want, because they can't tell you. Good boy. So you see how I can use that bridge cue, good boy, to tell him that he's done a good job, but I don't have to give him a treat. And because I've been building up some a little delayed response with the treat, he's not expecting the treat right away, but he knows he's done a good job. Boy. Yeah, good boy. I like that he takes a breath there, lets out a little tension, and that he's standing in the middle of the cross ties without walking around. I guess dancing around would be a good word for it. It's none of that. He's not biting the cross ties. Thought about it. He might here in a minute, and that's fine. But he used to do it a lot, and it's decreased quite significantly as he's felt a little safer, become a little more comfortable with me and the routine. Good boy. So I'm going to wait until he finds a relaxed position to give him the treat. So that's better than he does usually, so I'm just going to give it to him. I think he probably could have been a little more relaxed. But sometimes you have to just keep shaping the behavior. Can't push him too far. Good boy. You see, like that, I can reward a lot of behaviors with a simple good boy. And he understands that that's a good thing when I say those words, because then he's earned a treat and eventually he'll get it. Good boy. Good boy. So that's probably the most relaxed he's been for his groom up, which tells me we're on the right track with his routine. And he's feeling a lot more comfortable. Good boy. With everything. I'm just going to go ahead and give him that one because he stayed pretty relaxed about it. So if you have an anxious horse that has a hard time in the cross ties or wherever they might be without horses or without you, you might give this a try to help them out. And remember, it takes consistency and patience for it to build up and to work. But hopefully you'll see some improvement right away, even if it's a little bit. Did you have a fly, or are you just upset that I moved around? And I can go back to here, playing with his nose. Good boy. And it's a real light feeling that I have here on his nose, on his mouth, unless he's tossing his head around. And then I'm just guiding his head to a better position. Good boy. So now I'll delay the treat again and see if he can stay relaxed. He's going to creep forward. He says, I'm going to come get that treat from you. And I said, no, I would rather you not. I need you to stay here. On the mats, at least. Good boy. Yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. Give it a try.